Hello and welcome back to GG3 for episode 12, where I'm going to go over some of the comics I read for the month of March. I hope everyone's doing well, managing with COVID and everything, trying squeezing in some personal time, I guess, because obviously, depending on where you are, I don't know, but it gets a little stressful just maybe if you're just doing work and coming home. Some people are doing school too, so give some time for yourself to unwind, do something that you actually want to do, which I hopefully you can, because obviously some places aren't open. Yeah, so I don't think I really have much else to talk about, so I'm just gonna jump right in and say what I've read for DC this month. So I read Future State Justice League number 1, Infinite Frontier 0, and Far Sector number 10. Now for Independent, I read Black Cotton number 1, Berserker number 1, Commanders in Crisis number 2, Knock 'em Dead number 2, Noctera number 1, and Power Rangers number 3. Finally, for Marvel, what I read is America Chavez Made in the USA, number 1. Blade Undead Again, number 1. Demon Days X-Men, number 1. And Nonstop Spider-Man, number 1. Okay, so now I'm going to read a summary for Future State Justice League. Witness the start of a new era for the Justice League, starring Jonathan Kent as Superman, Yara Flor as Wonder Woman, Joe Malin as Green Lantern, Andy Curry as Aquawoman, a new Flash from the multiverse, and Tim Fox as Batman. Together, they protect the future, yet apart, their identities are a secret even from one another. But why? When their greatest adversaries wind up murdered in an abandoned Hall of Justice, all clues point to the Justice League. The new team's adventure begins here. And in a new tale of the Justice League Dark, a witch hunt across DC Universe begins as magic users are harvested and executed, and the team is on the run. Zatanna and Detective Chimp, now possessed by Etrigan, must round up new and old teammates, including John Constantine, Ragman, and Madame Zandu. Their mission? To battle the Power Mad Crow King, Merlin before his plans for magical domination destroy the fabric of reality. But where's Dr. Fate? And what led the team to disband in the first place? Discover the truth here. So what I liked about this issue was actually, well, I guess I like the new Justice League. Seems like everyone's coupled up though. And even, I guess I can comment on the second story. The second story was interesting too. I'm surprised. I kind of thought the second story in these I guess these bigger issues where it has half one thing and half the other. I kind of was thinking, the second story is just little fluff thing, but it was actually good. Con that I have for this is I know I haven't finished reading this series, but I already feel like I'm gonna want more than the 2 issues, because this Future State Justice League is only 2 issues long, and I feel like I don't know, it's not gonna be enough. So hopefully it continues in Infinite Frontier. Okay, next I'm gonna be reading a summary about Infinite Frontier. The next phase of the DC Universe begins here. Dark Knight's death metal presented the darkest threats of the multiverse. DC Future State revealed that what may lie ahead. Now it's time to look into the infinite frontier of the current day DC Universe. In Gotham City, the Joker jolts citizens awake with an attack even the Dark Knight never expected. In Brazil, a young woman discovers her destiny and her connection to the Amazons. In Bel Rev, Amanda Waller plots an invasion of Arkham Asylum. In the far reaches of space, Mongol dreams of galactic domination, while the Green Lantern Corps hosts a summit of its greatest enemies. At the Hall of Justice, the League joins forces with Black Adam. Beyond the mortal world, Wonder Woman settles into a new role in the God Sphere, and somewhere in the DC universe is the return of Stargirl in an all-new tale written by Jeff Johns. So obviously some good things about this issue. It had a bunch of different stories in one, like little, I guess, where they left off from Future State, and some of these might not have been completely clear to me because I've read like this much of Future State, so it was, I guess, nice to see which direction they'll be going. Some people who I'm looking forward to reading about is Yara Flores, Stargirl, and I want to see how they do Red X, because apparently Red X wasn't in the comics before, which I'm surprised. And there was someone else. Oh yeah, and Nubia. I want to see what they do with her. Some, I guess, downfalls. I guess one thing that I didn't like in when they were saying where the story's going is how, I guess, Barry Allen passed down the mantle, it is the mantle of the Flash to Wally, which hasn't this already been done? So it's just happening again. He couldn't pass it down to another speedster, but I guess, I don't know, it seems unoriginal. We'll see where the story goes though. And finally for DC, I'm going to be reading a summary for Far Sector 10. The groundbreaking sci-fi series approaches its thrilling climax. Since arriving at the city enduring, Sojourner Joe Malin has confronted an insidious conspiracy of murder and mayhem. But even this most resilient Green Lantern reaches her breaking point when she uncovers an emotional sweatshop, producing black market feelings for a world without them. But Joe is only too human. So, a common thing that I always like about Far Sector is the art. So, props to Jamal Campbell. The story is also interesting. It's not action-packed, at least not this issue, but it has enough action in it to keep my attention. The story is very interesting. It seems to be, right now, it's very political. It was political before this issue talked about it, and I think there's 2 issues left, so it'll be interesting to see how this all wraps up. There was nothing that really stood out in this issue that I would say I didn't like. Okay, now we're moving on to Independent. So to start it off, I'll be talking about Black Cotton. So set alternate reality where the social order of white and black is reversed, an elitist family, the Cottons, are rocked by a tragic shooting that begins to unravel long-standing family secrets that could not only destroy the family, but also divide the fragile social climate of the world. Now when we first heard about this comic and what it was going to be about, it was a good thing about this comic issue, since I think it's only one out now. The interesting concept, obviously among all these things happen, like Black Lives Matter. Some bad things about this comic is, unfortunately, it has poor execution, and it's kind of cringy too. Like there's one page where there's protesters and people are holding up White Lives Matter signs, and I don't know, it just felt weird. Even though the comic's in black and white, I didn't find it. It didn't bother me. It was okay. Another thing is I feel like I'm not understanding, not understanding something when they keep mentioning Black Cotton. Like, as the summary said, the Black family's last name is Cotton. Think about that. That's kind of bad now too. But they always talk about. I think they always mention Black Cotton. So I don't know if they're just referring to themselves or if there's something else. So yeah. Next we have Berserker number 1. The man known only as Berserker is half mortal and half god, cursed and compelled to violence, even at the sacrifice of his sanity. But after wandering the world for centuries, Berserker may have finally found a refuge, working for the US government to fight the battles too violent and too dangerous for anyone else. In exchange, Berserker will be granted the one thing he desires, the truth about his endless blood-soaked existence and how to end it. Some things I like about this comic is I'm a fan of Keanu Reeves, and he is one of the writers, so I like that. The last couple pages in it seem interesting to make me wonder where the story will go. Another thing, I guess violence is a pro. Some things I didn't like or wasn't fond about for Berserker is too much violence. I don't know. It seemed very over the top. Like, I swear there was a panel where Berserker, I guess that's his name, punched off a guy's jaw. And I was like, okay. But yeah, a lot of violence in this. And as sad as I am to say this, I personally feel like this comic was overhyped. So far, at least. I'll read the next issue. We'll see how it goes, but Flash came in. But yeah, I don't know. It was okay. Oh, there he is. He wanted to talk about Berserker too. He wanted to come in and tell me it is not overhyped. Okay, but yeah, I think it was overhyped. Next is Commanders in Crisis number 2. The Crisis Command, last survivors of the multiverse, are faced with an impossible task, avenging the death of an idea. DOA is empathy itself. And while empathy withers and dies across the world, Originator uses the abilities to bring the John Doe back for 24 hours to reveal the name of his killer. So some things I like about this comic is we're learning about the characters and their powers, and it's an interesting story. Some things I didn't like, I'm still trying to understand some of their powers. Like, there's a lady, or a woman, whose power has something to do with quantum moments, I think. But right when I hear quantum, it brings me back to the time when I was in university taking my structure and bonding class, which was quantum chemistry.
The heck is a quantum mechanical three-dimensional wave function? Well, of course, the answer to this question has a great deal to do with quantum mechanical three-dimensional wave functions, so let's start there. Wave function. What's a wave function? It's a mathematical function that describes the probability that an electron is in a certain place at any given moment. It only hybridizes 2 p orbitals with the s orbital, forming 3 sp2 hybridized orbitals with an unhybridized p orbital sticking up from the center.
Next is Knock 'em Dead number 2. Your Bryce died, but only for a couple seconds. The thing is, he didn't come back alone. The spirit of Danny Barron, Pryor's more successful comedian friend, was brought back with him. Trapped inside Pryor's body, the ghost of Danny offers Pryor a supernatural deal. He'll write Pryor's material so Danny can still be successful even after death. Their bargain comes with supernatural strings attached, and soon, Pryor will discover that comedy is no laughing matter. So some things I like about this issue was I like how it shows Pryor's life seems to be going uphill, and his sister life, or his sister Ronan, her life seems to be going downhill. I also enjoyed the dream sequences, and the dialogue was very good. Some things I didn't like about this? Nothing. I wish I had someone who could write material for me so it wouldn't be so dry. Next is Noctera number 1. 10 years after the world is plunged into an everlasting night that turns all living creatures into monstrous shades, the only way to survive is to stay close to artificial light. Enter Valentina Val Riggs, a skilled ferryman who transports people and goods along deadly, unlit roads with her heavily illuminated 18-wheeler. Some things I liked about this story: I am a sucker for, would it be post-apocalyptic? Kinda apocalyptic stories. So I enjoyed the vibe. Some things that I guess I didn't like. It's nothing really groundbreaking. And I also realized I need to invest into purchasing more flashlights. Alright, finally for independent is Power Rangers number 3. 2 new series, 2 new teams. The Unlimited Power era continues as Draken is the key to the Power Rangers' new mission. But to defeat the new cosmic threat, the new Power Ranger team, Jason, Trini, Zack, and new members, has put their faith in their greatest enemy. And the only way that they may be able to save the universe is by giving Draken exactly what he wants. Things I liked about this issue? Ooh, Zords! And Zero-G action. Some things I didn't like? Nothing. I feel like I never really have cons for Power Ranger comics. Sure, there's some. But yeah, I don't have any for this one. Now we move on to Marvel, and first up is America Chavez, made in the USA. Who is America? America Chavez is incredible. Her origins, her strength, her dimension-shattering star portals. But when the foundation of everything she believes in is shaken, America will stand up and face the parts of herself she's been running from. From writer Kalinda Vasquez and artist Carlos Gomez comes an explosive, brand new story all about the what made America Chavez who she is, and what she'll do to protect the ones she loves. Some things I liked about this issue were the art was good. It was funny when they first found America. Like, I guess she crash landed, and they showed her in the suit she was wearing, and I was like, that almost looks like All Might's costume, or some version of All Might from the anime My Hero Academia. But yes, other than that, it was cool. I liked the cameo from Spider-Man. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing where the story goes. And honestly, I have nothing bad to say about this issue. Next up, I have Blade Undead Again number 1. Join Howard Chaykin and Mark Guggenheim for a new series starring the popular character who's launched 3 movies and a TV series, featuring Spider-Man, Dracula, Doctor Doom, Wolverine, and Santa Claus? Plus a look into Blade's mysterious past. I don't know, I guess, what did I like about this one? Blade's in it. Yeah. What I didn't like about it, I don't know. It just, maybe it would get better in the later issues of this run, but the number 1 didn't really pull me in. I don't know. Is he part of S.H.I.E.L.D.? It looked like he was. I just don't know. So, meh. Next is X-Men Demon Days number 1. From Stormbreaker Peach Momoko comes a Marvel story unlike any you've ever seen before. A wandering swordsman with a psychic blade arrives at village. Must be sorry. I'm reading what it says. Arrives at a village that's being targeted by demons. One demon is black and white with terrifying red tongue, and another may be the strongest demon there is. In the stunning kickoff issue of this prestige quarterly story, you'll see a revolutionary reimagination of Marvel Universe that can only come from Peach Momoko. Ready your katana and enter a mysterious world of demons, monsters, mutants, and magic. Book 1 of 5 of Demon Day Saga. Oh, it's only 5. Sad. Now, some things I liked about this one is since I used to read a lot of manga, I occasionally do, but yeah, and still watch a lot of anime. I love how it's true to Japanese culture, at least from what I kind of know, because obviously I'm not an expert. This is just things that I've seen over and over again in manga and in anime, and it's sometimes explained, but yes. I also like how it explains some things like Oni and Orochi, which yeah, it's in the back of the issue. I love the art, and I really like how she ties in some Marvel heroes and villains. There was, what I remember, there was Jubilee, Hulk, Venom, and Logan. I think there was someone else, but I can't remember who. What I didn't like about this comic, absolutely nothing. I loved it. It was amazing. Finally, it's Non-Stop Spider-Man #1. Buckle up, Tiger. Get ready for the most action-packed, pulse-pounding, adrenaline-pumping comic of all time. As the name implies, once you read page 1, panel 1, Spider-Man does not stop. A mystery at Empire State University thrusts Spider-Man into an adventure that starts in uptown Manhattan and will take him around the world, pitting him against Marvel Universe villains old and new, and give you a Spider-Man adventure and Spider-Man. Anyways, the likes of which you've never seen. This book is not for the faint of heart, so check with your doctor before reading. I try to read it fast, like at the end of those I guess medication or different drug commercials where it's like, oh, you might experience death, blah, 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 yeah, and so on and so on. You know what I mean? So yeah, some things I liked about this comic. I guess it's called Non-Stop because it's explaining the events that lead up to him fighting someone at the same time, and it switches between the two parts of the story. So I guess that kind of makes sense in why it would be called Non-Stop. It was entertaining, and new characters. I don't know who Kel is. Cons, some of the pages were hectic and kind of hard to follow, which I guess maybe is almost on brand for what they were saying, the adrenaline pumping, just the non-stop action, but yeah, kind of muddled at some points. Alright, now that we've gotten through all of the summaries and my opinions on them, I'm just gonna hop right into my Grand 3. So, my picks are Future State Justice League #1, Knock 'em Dead #2, and I'm sure you can kind of guess this last one, X-Men Demon Days #1. So yeah, I guess after, doing, it hasn't been that long, but doing, what is it, 12th episode of GG3, there's some changes that I'm going to make. Honestly, literally before I started recording this, I thought of a new format, kind of, how to do these videos, just to kind of make it easier for me to, make it faster for me to put these videos together, and it won't really restrict me. It's not really restrict me in reading what I actually want to, because as you guys know, me and Anika have said many times that I'll usually gravitate a lot to the independent comics. So, I guess since independent, it's a lot of publishers compared to DC and Marvel, there'd be a lot more independent, and then when I'm picking up the comics I want to read, I kind of feel bad because there's more, so I might say, okay, I won't read this one now, I'll look for something in DC or Marvel, and I don't know, it feels, I don't know, I don't say it feels like that, but it'll make me, I'm already behind, so this is kind of supposed to help me keep up. So this new format it's just gonna blend everything together probably, and I'm just gonna pick my top 3 overall. Not like one from DC, one independent, one Marvel. It's just gonna be top 3 of what I've read. And yeah, you'll see the format more next month. But yeah, and also because I'm not really getting much, I guess, involvement from the community, I'm gonna not take down, but there's no point in me asking for requests because I don't get any requests. So I'm just gonna save my breath. I just said it all now. I'm not gonna be asking for requests now. You're just gonna get what you get. That's all. Nothing wrong with you guys. Just I don't know. I'll say I won't have to keep checking the comments and such for requests or my DMs or Anika's DMs because we don't get any requests. So we'll request things to ourselves and yeah, we'll go from there. For next month, so I'll be reading through April to post May. I'm debating, on doing, I think I might just do manga for that month because yeah, I looked up last year sometime when Japanese Heritage Month would be, and apparently it's May. So to hopefully this isn't like a bad thing for me to do, but to try and stay with the theme, I guess I'll be reading manga, which is very, I guess, popular in Japanese culture. So I'll be reading a bunch of those, and I'll still be picking my top 3. Then after that, I'll probably be going back to new regular format. But yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone who watched this episode, and you'll see me in May for episode 13 of GG3. See ya.